Y'all good in the back?
Got it, Charlie. I want to congratulate Notre Dame. They played great. They played like a top 10 team tonight. And that's the team that we saw play 3 quarters against Ohio State, and we were afraid that's what we'd see tonight. So they got their quarterback hit 24 out of 34. When you rush the ball as well as they did tonight, everything else works, and it's easy. So they hit a few explosive plays in the passing game. We only had the ball a little over 21 minutes, and that's the best way to beat us, is keep our offense off the field. And I thought the start of the second half was an absolute killer. They drive down and score, and then we fumble the first play, and they take it down. I thought we'd stopped them on the 4th and 3, but they called pass interference and gave them a new start. So I was proud of the way the kids fought. We can get better as a team, but they didn't quit. They gave us everything they had. And tonight, Notre Dame was better than we are. And they've had top 10 recruiting classes every year, so you know they've got great players. They just haven't put it together yet. And they played much better today than they did last week against Cal. So give them credit. That's one of the best teams we've played since we've been here. Questions?
You have emphasized the importance of trying to get to where they were, referencing the game in 2020. It looks like there's still a ways to go. How far away are you from that? And did you see anything tonight that you kind of have an idea exactly where you guys are and where you need to go?
To be fair, they have won 25 straight ACC games. So all of us are trying to catch them. And that's regular season games. I thought it was 19. Now it's 26. So they've got a great program. They do it right. They do it within the rules. And they're really good. So I think you just give credit to them. We've got a lot of things that we do well. We've got obvious things that we need to continue to do better. Weirdly enough, we're continuing to improve on defense tonight. We just could not stop the run, and they just lined up and hit us right in the face, and just kept running, and we couldn't get them off the field.
Outside of recruiting, how do you get better in that area?
Recruit. Have a top 10 recruiting class every year like they do. They got good players. They are really good.
Is there a broader issue with defense and how it just can't get back on track? It seems like we've had 4 games now where the defense has been the issue, and it seems like it's not getting to where it needs to be or where you want it to be.
Yeah, there's times it is, but it's inconsistent, so we've got to keep looking at that. And you can't start talking about trends after the 4th game. Let's talk about it after game 12 and see if we've made progress.
Mack, felt like tonight, between you being visibly upset on the sidelines at different times, players, whether it's the bench, the Grimes moment on the sideline, the frustration that's been kind of building since you've come back just kind of boil over in some ways for you and the whole team?
We really want to win, and we want to have a fair chance to win, and we want to compete as hard as we can, and we want to make each other accountable. And if I feel like something has been taken away from the kids on a play, it's my responsibility to stand up for them. And that's simply what I'm doing. And somebody throws a flag at me because I'm questioning a call, yeah, good for them. But the kids were fighting their guts out. We've asked them to be a player-led team. We've asked them to push each other. We've asked them to call on each other. I've seen coaches get in fights on the sideline. This is really important. And if it's not working well, you want to fight your guts out to make sure that everybody understands you're doing the best that you can do. And what I ask the team and I ask the staff is give them everything they've got. And that's what I wanted to give them back. So really and truly, that was called passion in a lot of cases. Ray Vahasic said he tripped and was pushed and fell into a guy, and so we'll see all that tonight when we start watching the video.
Mack, do you know what exactly you said to get the flag? Was there something you said to push it over the point of drawing a flag?
I think he got mad because I was out on the field. And I told him, in my experience, my 34 years, guys come over and say, Coach, I know you're upset. Let's walk over here and let's talk about it. And they manage it. He was quick. He had a quick release.
Have you
Cost us 1 yard. You know,
Right.
total.
But he had a short trigger on him.
He had a short trip.
Have you ever been flagged for unsportsmanlike?
No, ma'am. Probably should have been, but I haven't. I think that's the first. Sally, have I ever been flagged? I don't think so. I think everybody knows I'm gonna try to do what's right. I'm gonna try to say what's right. I'm passionate and I wanna win.
Coach, on a couple of their touchdowns, it seemed like the defense sort of fell apart on the play action. Was there something you saw, I guess, throughout the course of the game in that area that could be improved upon?
When you can run the ball as good as they can, it makes your safeties and linebackers suck up for the run and they can throw it over your head very easily. They had a couple of wheel routes that got us, and that's because our guys were trying to stop the run. So again, when you can run it like they run it, they're gonna be hard to beat.
Mack, what happened on offense? You guys are really moving the ball well on that opening drive for the touchdown. What happened between then and the next few drives where you really couldn't get going?
They just had mistakes, because then we came back and drove it down and scored again. And the biggest thing that got us in bad trouble was the 5 minutes after half. Number one, we couldn't let them take it and score as easily as they did, because we fought them going into the half. And then Drake fumbles on the first play, and they get it, and then we fight them, but they still score. That's a 14-point swing against a team that's going to keep the ball and not let you get your offense on the field. So that to me was the biggest difference in the ball game.
With Drake being a young quarterback, are you happy with him responding well and having a short memory after the fumble with the long touchdown to answer?
Yeah, I think Drake's a great player. This is the biggest game he's ever played in, so he'll really learn from this.
Mack, you talked about Notre Dame's front seven earlier in the week. I mean, was that primarily a reason for the running game not really ever getting some traction, just they have better guys up front?
They've got great players up front. I said that. They're too deep, and they're very aggressive. And again, they're the best players in the country. That's who they are. They're one of those 8 teams that recruits the best players in the country every year. And what it seemed to me is that they said, we are not going to let you run the ball. They were blitzing a lot with their linebackers, and they were going to make us throw it. I thought our offensive line did a masterful job in pass protection. When you can't run it, it is really hard to pass protect. And Drake had a lot of time most of the time.
Is there any concern of
Yes.
the morale or
I'm sorry?
Is there any concern for the morale or confidence of your defense now?
No, these are great young people, and they know everybody's trying. And they also know how good that Notre Dame played on offense tonight. They're not stupid.
With the run defense, is it just a physicality thing, or are their talents better than y'all's talent up front?
I thought tonight they were really, really talented and beat us down.
You talked about how Notre Dame, they have that top 10 recruiting class year in, year out.
Yes.
It's such a young team for you guys. Seeing how you guys played against that type of team, do you take any solace from that, from this game? I mean, or is it, hey, we lost, let's...
What I told the guys is this may be the best team we've played since we've been here. And that's by far the best they've played. And that's where we want to go. That's where we want to get. So it's not hard to see. We knew they were going to run it, and they still lined up and ran it. And we're not there. We can't do that yet. And we should be. And that's where we got to get to.
Mack, you feel like you've been tested appropriately now as you turn to the challenge of playing in the ACC? And you're
Yes.
prepared for that?
Yes, it's the other thing I told them is I don't think we could have had a better challenge tonight to get ready for the ACC, because this may be the best team we played. It'll be in the group, and there were times we stepped up. There were things we did really well, but we obviously didn't do well enough to be in the game in the fourth quarter like we wanted to be. But that again, we will show them tomorrow where we failed, and we will show them what we've got, what we did well, and what they can be. We're just inconsistent. We've got to get more consistent on both sides of the ball.
Coach, for a team like Notre Dame, which is sort of a tight end factory for the NFL, what challenges does that present in trying to stop you in the middle of the field?
That tight end's a great player. He's not a good player, and he's such a mismatch on linebackers and safeties. And we double covered him some. We knew he was going to get the ball a bunch. We did it. We had every plan possible to try to stop him. But again, when you've got safeties and linebackers that are having to stop the run, you gotta look at the run first, and then you gotta go find him, and he's just really good. I think he's probably the best tight end in the country.
There's a lot of talk last week about fixing some of the communication issues in the secondary. You said you kind of had to wait to see it in the game. Did you see any progress in that area today?
Yeah, there were fewer explosives. You know, the wheel route for a touchdown was on the linebackers. It wasn't the secondary. I think the only play that was really on the secondary was the post where they split us. And that was a great play by them. But most of their explosives are going to be runs.
Were guys like Josh Downs and Antoine Reed, were they on a play limit tonight, or did you just kind of let them loose?
Yeah, we didn't even know for sure they would play because they hadn't been hit. And I think both of them were okay. But we thought they'd probably have 30 plays apiece max. And I think they had. This is the other thing that just, when you can't stop the run and you can't run the ball, they had 85 plays and we had 60. So we weren't out there, and that was smart of them.
Matt, there's a lot of heat right now on the defense. I was wondering, what would you say to the fans and to anyone else that's kind of, you know, like, why is this defense not getting better?
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Our defense has been inconsistent since we've been here. So what I would say is support these kids and pick them up and be so positive and try to encourage them, because they're trying really, really hard. And there's some very talented players out there that are going to keep getting better. I think tonight, anybody that walks out of this and couldn't see that they were better than we were doesn't understand football. I mean, the Jimmies and the Joes, they had more than we did.
So just back to recruiting and development?
Yes, for many years.
Yeah.
26 straight wins over ACC teams in the regular season. This isn't the first night somebody stood in here and talked about how good Notre Dame ran the ball.
Coach, after they scored 24 points in the second quarter, what adjustments did you guys try to make at halftime?
We tried to stop the run. And then they came out and ran it right down the field.
Mack, have you already started to think about Virginia Tech next week, or do you allow yourself a cool down period after games like these?
No, I watched Virginia Tech Thursday night and sat and made notes and had our whole staff do it. I mean, that's you just try to stay a week ahead of everything, and our guys will be, coaches will all grade this video this afternoon. We'll meet tomorrow. The kids will practice tomorrow. We'll head down toward Virginia Tech, take the next step. This is really a hard business. Hard for these kids. They have a physical game tonight, and they're down and frustrated. They got to go eat dinner with their parents and then get up the next morning, get ready for another one. That's just what you do. And obviously Virginia Tech will be excited about running the ball against us.
Mack,
You got time for one more.
I hear what you're saying about them being so physical and running the ball on you guys, but there were a few times where they had some guys uncovered. Mayer was open a couple times. They had the one, throwback to Diggs early in the second half, or it was just...
That was the wheel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
what
off
did
of
you
a
make
fake.
of that? I mean, I'm sure that makes you want to pull your hair out in some ways when...
It does. And when you can run the ball and you can make your linebacker, you're yelling at your linebackers about stopping the run.
Right.
And then they had a masterful call to slip a back out down the boundary, and the linebacker who was supposed to be with him was on the fake up inside. It was a great call by them. If you're running the ball that well, which I would love to do, everything works. So the difference in this game tonight, they ran the ball and we didn't. That's it, 100%. And they ran it well enough, they kept the ball. And then we scored when we had it. We just didn't have it very much. And we did have that dry spell in the first quarter where we had 2 3-and-outs or 3 in a row, and then we got back on track. But again, credit goes to them.
All right, thank you, Coach.